Screen actors, I'm going to give you a secret weapon that's going to help you to book more gigs and blow your competition away. That weapon is script analysis for performance. I'm Louis DiBianco, and this is my channel, Screen Acting Success. This is where you come every Friday for more tips, techniques, and secrets to help you become a compelling, working screen actor in demand. If this is your first time here, definitely click subscribe and give the video a thumbs up. Make sure to stick around to the end because I'm going to be giving away some free training that you're definitely not going to want to miss. Before I give you the 7 steps to analyzing a script so that you can perform it, let's get clear about the difference between dramatic storytelling and other forms of storytelling. Let's say, for example, the stories that you read in a novel. Novels can be descriptive and they can deliver a lot of information that a reader will absorb and enjoy with his or her intellect. Dramatic storytelling must be active. It must be something that an actor can immediately translate into playable actions that give a story forward movement on a screen or on a stage. Okay, you get a script in your hands and you're going to analyze it as an actor. The first thing you should do is read the entire thing and discipline yourself not to say the lines even silently in your head. You want to, because the moment you do that, you are going to be thinking about what you sound like and how you're going to look on camera, and that's going to cut you off from the most important thing, your connection to the other person in the scene. So just read it quietly to get a sense of the storyline, where you are emotionally at the beginning and where you are emotionally at the end of the scene. And then you're going to read it again silently, focusing only on the other character's lines. And this time, I want you to look at each line that the other character speaks, and on a piece of paper, maybe on your sides, write down what action is that line performing. What is that line doing physically, emotionally to you? For instance, you read a line and then you feel it and say, in that line, that character was slapping me. So the action was slap. In the next line, that character was caressing me. The action is caress. In the next line, that character was shoving me. So the action is shove. And you go through all of the lines of the other character and write down one action that that character is performing in each line toward you. Why? Because those actions will trigger your different emotions and will help you to understand the actions that you've got to perform as a counterattack to what that person is saying and doing to you. Then you're going to read your lines and you're going to do the same thing. Every line, you're going to write one action. Write it as one word, an action that you're performing toward the other person. Now that you've got that, you have the what of the scene. Now, the most important thing is you want to find the why. Why are you doing these things, saying these things? And that why is your intention. Make it a point, discipline yourself to always describe your intention in a verb phrase, an active verb phrase that always begins with the word to. Why? Because that's something playable. For instance, this scene is about to intimidate. This scene is about to deceive. This scene is about to win over, etc. Why is this so important? Because by finding that, you are locating the GPS that will get you through the scene with focus. Imagine taking a trip to a destination you've never been to before without doing any research. You have no map, you have no GPS. You just start driving. Well, obviously, you're going to meander and probably get lost. Well, that's what happens to many actors who haven't clearly defined what their intention is that drives them with a laser focus right through the scene. I want to give you a clear example of finding a powerful intention, not just for a scene, but for an entire play. The play is Hamlet by William Shakespeare. When I was studying literature, I would read many literary critics' books about Hamlet. Some of them were interesting, some of them were deadly boring, just, well, academic exercises. But they would go on and on about the philosophy, the themes, the imagery. That's great to know for cocktail conversation, but you can't play imagery, symbols, themes if you're an actor. So if I'm going to be playing the character of Hamlet, I have to know what my motor is. What's the engine that's driving me through the entire play? What's my GPS? And I can give it to you in 5 words. Hamlet's intention: to avenge my father's murder. That's it. That's playable. Because when I interact with other characters, I'm going to be doing something that's going to get me closer to being able to avenge my father's murder. That is diving into a script from an actor's point of view, actively, dramatically. And that's what will translate into a dynamite performance. Okay, step 5. You found the what and the why. Now, I want you to take a blank sheet of paper and just draw a seesaw. It's a straight line with a little pedestal that supports it. I'm sure, I will assume that as a child, you were on a seesaw, or you've definitely seen them in books. Why a seesaw? Because a seesaw, when you're on one with another person, one person goes up, the other goes down, which is exactly what should be happening in a good scene. Moment to moment, there's a shift of power. Once you've drawn the seesaw, go through the script, and for each exchange between you and the other character, decide who is on the upper end of the seesaw and who's on the lower end. When you do that, you will have an interesting diagram that will show you, well, in these 4 moments, that person dominates. In these 6 moments, I dominate. It will also help you, that visual image will help you when you start to learn your lines, to give your lines variety and color. Because without doing that kind of analysis, you could fall into the trap of one-note acting. And instead of talking about a one-note experience, let's actually experience it. Let's hear it and feel it. Here we go. That was only 9 seconds, and I'll bet it felt like an eternity. That sound, I'm sure, made it very clear what it is to experience one note. Well, think of what you come across as when every one of your lines is said with the same inflection. It's the same thing. It's boring. Pushes an audience away. The camera hates you. The audience will hate you. Well, hate is a strong word, but you get the point that I'm making. You want color and variety in your performance. So the next step will take you closer toward achieving that. Find the music of the scene. Draw an arc. Music, if it's good music, has a build to it. Builds to a crescendo, to a peak, and then it builds to a resolution. And when we hear that, we feel it and we're satisfied. Well, your performance should have that same musicality to it. It should build to a peak moment and then begin to move toward a resolution and then finally conclude. It should feel finished, complete. So draw the dramatic arc, go through the scene, and indicate. At this moment, I'm at this point on the arc. At this moment, I'm at the peak, the climax, and then I'm beginning to move toward my resolution. If you do these steps, you will be training yourself to always bring variety, color, and authenticity to all of your performances. There's one last step now, and that step takes us right to the beginning of the scene. Find the specific moment before. Every scene, if it's a good scene, it thrusts us into the middle of an action that began before the dialogue begins. So find what that moment before the dialogue begins is for your character. For instance, let's say the scene is between you and your significant other, your partner, and you're challenging that person's love for you. What if the moment before you had seen your partner give a passionate kiss to another person, telling you that they were probably betraying you? With that knowledge, you will be able to enter into the proper state to give you the focus you need emotionally to begin the scene, so that you're not just starting to say words. They're connected to an inner life that began before the scene began. Always do that. It will tell you what your body language is, how you're standing or sitting. Give you an example, something I saw, powerful moment before. The wonderful play, Death of a Salesman by Arthur Miller. I saw the great late George C. Scott play the central character Willie Loman in New York on Broadway. He made an entrance that was so connected to his previous life, that had a powerful moment before, that everyone in the audience felt it in their bodies. Willie is a salesman, and he has a hard life as a salesman, and his career is failing. He comes home from a long, exhausting sales trip. He walks into his home carrying a heavy suitcase, and all the actor did was walk in very slowly, kind of slumped over, holding that suitcase that you could feel dragging him down. He looked slowly around his apartment, and then he kind of just went down and put the suitcase on the floor and came back up. We felt the weight of the world on that man's shoulders, and that moment connected us to his life before the play began. Find and define playable moments before that will give your scenes an exciting life, even before the camera begins to roll and they call action. Those are the 7 steps that are going to make you a more compelling working screen actor in demand. By the way, if you got value from this, leave your takeaways in the comments below. And if you haven't subscribed already, do it now and give the video a thumbs up. I promised you some free training. Here's an image on the screen. That is the cover of my ebook that will teach you everything you need to know to do brilliant self-tape auditions. It's a 21-page book with diagrams, and I give you a diagram, for instance, of my entire setup at home, which you can duplicate. It has everything about the do's and don'ts, about how to light, about how to get the best sound, and also all the gear that you can use to get the absolute best quality for the auditions that you submit. Just look below for the link to that book, and you click the link and you'll be able to download the book and really get up to speed with great self-tape auditions. You'll also find a link to my latest online course, Self-Taping Mastery. The course takes a deeper dive into the subject. The book will give you everything to do it on your own. But the course, well, you'll have me on screen in every module, taking you step by step, holding you by the hand. You'll also have the ability to reach out to me, ask me questions, which I definitely will answer. Plus, when you read what I'm offering, you'll see that I'm giving you a lot of bonuses beyond the course, including another course on auditioning that is I'm giving it to you for free for purchasing and enrolling in Self-Taping Mastery, but that other course sells separately for $199. And you're going to get everything for less than that. So take a look. If you decide it's for you, I'd love to get to know you better and be your guide toward greater success as a screen actor. If it's not for you, well, definitely continue to come back and get value from the videos that I make every Friday. I always like to end with this reminder, which is in itself a lesson about screen acting. Screen acting is not about dialogue so much as it is about the inner life beneath the dialogue. So when you have a script in your hand, the first thing you want to do is feel it. Then say it. If you feel it and then you say it, you will mean it, and then you should book it. Feel it, say it, mean it, book it. Go out and create a stellar on-camera screen acting career for yourself.